A warm welcome, students. Program name, Bachelor of Arts, 3rd year. Subject, Psychology, Semester 5. Paper code is PSD 102. Paper title, Health Psychology. Title of the unit is Unit 1, Understanding Psychology and Health. Module name, Current Perspectives on Health and Illness, the Biopsychosocial Perspectives, Lifespan and Gender Perspective. Module number 3. I am Sybil Fernandez, Assistant Professor, Carmel College of Arts, Science and Commerce for Women, Nuwe, Goa. The outline of this module is Biopsychosocial Model, Lifespan and Gender Perspective. At the end of this module, you will learn to understand perspectives on health and illness, to describe the biopsychosocial model, and to explain lifespan and gender perspectives on health. Starting with the first topic, current perspectives on health and illness, under which we are going to cover two subtopics, that is biopsychosocial perspectives and lifespan and gender perspective. Now, the biopsychosocial perspective focuses the influence of three different factors, that is the biological factors, the psychological factors and the social factors on a person's health. Now, it is said that all these three factors affect and are affected by a person's health. Now, let us look at the role of each of these factors, starting with the role of biological factors. Now, this includes the genetic materials and processes by which we inherit certain characteristics from our parents. It also includes the structure and function of the person's physiology. Now, let us take for example, does the body have any structural defects like a malformed heart valve or damage to the brain, which causes an impairment in the functioning of these organs? Or does the body sometimes overreact to harmless substances like pollen or dust? Now, your body is made up of complex physical systems, and the operation and interaction of these systems determine the healthy functioning of the body. Moving on to the role of psychological factors, under which we cover cognition, emotion, and motivation. Now, what is cognition? It is a mental activity that involves perceiving, learning, remembering, thinking, interpreting, believing, and problem solving. Now, say for example, a person holds a very strong belief that life is not worth living without the things you enjoy. So, do you think this person would consider quitting smoking cigarettes despite knowing its harmful consequences? Probably not, because here the person is guided by his or her cognition. Moving on to emotion, a subjective feeling that is affected by our thoughts, behavior, and physiology. Now, it is said that those with positive emotions are less likely to be prone to illnesses as compared to those who are negative. Now, the positive emotions could be joy, happiness, love. It is also said that those who have positive emotions, they recover much faster from an illness and also are more likely to engage in healthful behaviors as those who are negative. Now, emotions also affect our decision. Now, say for example, a person who is frightened of visiting the doctors or visiting a dentist will avoid doing so just because he wants to avoid coming across them, and therefore he or she will ignore their health. The next factor is motivation. Now, the process within individuals that gets them to start some activity, choose its direction, and persist in it. Now, say for example, a person who is very determined to look good and to feel good would probably follow an exercise regime and try to put it into practice and see that he or she adheres to it. Now, some are motivated by significant others. A child who is pleading to her father to quit smoking because of its harmful consequences would be an example of how we are motivated by significant others. The role of social factors. We all live in the society and we come across different people at different point in time. Now, these people who we come across affect us and we in turn affect those people. Now, the society also promotes certain values of our culture Like for example, being fit and healthy is good. Mass media and television tried to put across these messages by urging us to eat well, to exercise regularly, to stop smoking, to avoid doing drugs. So these are some of the encouraging healthy behaviors. But also sometimes mass media tends to encourage unhealthy behaviors. Like when we see celebrities on television engaging in high-risk behaviors like smoking or drinking. Community. Members of different communities vary in the extent that they practice health-related behaviors, example, smoking, or eating unhealthy foods. Differences arise due to environmental characteristics as well. Now, say for example, a person who is living in a community who has access to gyms, parks, or who has restaurants which offer healthy options, okay, is less likely to engage in unhealthy behaviors and is more likely to engage in healthy eating behaviors. Social relationships. Now, your family also is said to have strong influence on the person's health. As children are growing up, they are constantly observing others, their parents, it can be their siblings, or many others in the society. And parents can set good examples by wearing seat belts while driving, or wearing helmets while riding, eating a healthy meal, or not smoking, not doing drugs. Parents reinforce healthful practices which encourages the child. Now we have looked at all of these systems individually. Now to understand, there's also an interrelation or interplay of these systems that affect our health. And to understand that, we need to understand the concept of systems. We need to understand the person as a whole. I'm sure we have all come across this statement at some point or the other. Nowadays, medical professionals are trying to focus on different factors that affect a person's health and illness. The biopsychosocial model is sometimes also called a holistic model because it takes into account all three factors that affect a person's life. Now, George Engel in the year 1980 proposed that the whole person can be conceptualized by applying the biological concept of systems. Now, what is a system? A system is a dynamic entity with components that are continuously interrelated. Now, by this definition, your body also qualifies as a system. And there are various systems like the social, psychological, and the biological systems that work together and affect a person's health and illness. Moving on to the next topic, that is lifespan and gender perspectives. People are constantly changing through a process called development. Psychosocial systems change and affect the person's life, health, illness across a person's lifespan. Gender also plays a role on health-related behaviors people perform and the illnesses that they develop. The lifespan perspective. Characteristics of a person are considered with respect to their prior development, current level, and development in the future. Health and illness characteristics vary with development. For instance, there are illnesses that change with age. Now, if you compare older and younger children have short-term infections. It could be a cold or a flu. While children grow older and enter into adulthood, they have various other complications like cancer, diabetes, or heart problems. Now, how do the roles of different psychosocial systems change as we develop? First is biological systems. Virtually all systems of the body grow in size, strength, and efficiency during childhood and decline in old age. Now, you can see this decline in older adults in their physical abilities. They have lesser stamina because their heart and lungs function less efficiently as compared to when they were younger. Also, their recovery rate from an illness is much slower in later adulthood. Psychological systems. Children's knowledge and ability to think are limited during the preschool years, but grow rapidly during later childhood. As cognitive skills improve, children are more likely to engage in health-promoting and safety behaviors. They also develop an understanding of the implications of their own illness when they are sick. social relationships and systems. Children's health is largely the responsibility of the adult caregivers. During teenage years, adolescents take on responsibility, but however, age mates and community have a powerful influence, especially when the adolescent wants to feel accepted in the society. Let us take an example. An adolescent who has a chronic illness like diabetes may avoid taking medication or ignore his or her health just because he wants to feel accepted in his peer group and not feel different from them. Now the last part, that is gender perspective. Males and females differ in their biological functioning, their health-related behaviors and social relationships. Some of the examples could be drinking, dieting, safe sex practices, and risk of developing specific illnesses such as breast cancer. With this, we come to the end of the module. Your references for this module are health psychology, psychosocial interactions. Thank you.